SixStringBluesDotCom. I am your host, Sean, and today I am going to look at a great amp from Lewis Electric Amps called the KR12 model. This is a great amp and a great amp builder named Lou Rosano out of Bergenfield, New Jersey, who has worked with the likes of Danny Gatton, Arlen Roth, Robin Ford, Hubert Sumlin, Keith Richards, and many more. As the story goes with this particular amp model, Lou built a great amp called the M12 model for Hubert Sumlin to use during a Holland tribute album that featured Keith Richards. Now Keith Richards liked this M12 model so much that he went to Lou and asked him to build a model based on his specific needs. This is a 40 watt 1x12 combo amp which features two EL34s, three 12AX7 tubes, and one 5AR4 tube. It features inputs for 4 different inputs with 6 decibels plus minus of gain between each input, and it also has controls for volume, master volume, treble, bass, middle, presence. And there's also a great control on the back of the amp called a bloom control, which allows you to adjust the mid and lower mid bloom of the amp. Now that's described as sort of a blooming effect of how the sound resonates from the amp. This particular amp is a whopping 48 pounds in weight, which is not too gig friendly in my opinion, but regardless, it's a great amp, and with the price of this amp I probably would not be bringing it to too many of my gigs. The KR12 is based on an EL34 12-inch combo. It's the result of Lou Rosano's outstanding work with Hubert Sumlin and Keith Richards. It's housed in a full-sized open pine cabinet, but the airiness of this amp sort of gives it a cross between a closed back cabinet and also an open back cabinet with the airiness of it. It's a great sounding amp. I highly recommend checking it out at lewisamps.com. If you're in the Twin Cities metropolitan area of Minnesota, you can also check out ldiabloamps.com. He is a great boutique amp dealer. His name is Alan, and I highly recommend checking his amps out. I've had this amp for just a few days, unfortunately, and I do have to bring it back today. But this amp would easily replace all of my Fender amps that I have that I play on a regular basis. This amp is just phenomenal sounding. I didn't think I would like this particular model, but I absolutely love it. So let's take a listen to it. Right now I'm plugged into the normal channel, input 1, and I have the volume set at 7, between 6 and 7. I have the master volume set between 6 and 7. The treble is at about 7. Bass is at 4, middle is at 5, and the presence I have on 10. And the bloom control on the back of the amp I have basically set at the 12 o'clock degree. This is a great setting for getting that great Chicago grinding, gnarly sound of the classic Chess records. You can also, with the different inputs and the manipulating the main volume control with the master volume control, you can get some great Marshall sounding sounds out of it. You can also lower the master volume down and keep the gain at a relatively low level, and you can also get some great jazz sounding stuff out of it. Today I'm playing my Gibson R8 58 Vintage Old Stock with the Burst Buster pickups. So I'm just going to play a few things so you can hear this amp. gain by also using your volume control on your guitar. The amp is very responsive to how you pick, so if you do some light picking, you can get some nice clean tones out of it, strum a little harder at the same settings, and you can get some great AC/DC type crunch. Switch it to the input 1 of the gain input, and without changing the amp, you can see that I can get some great AC/DC, some great heavy rock. If you're a blues rocker type person, you can get some great sounds out of that too. Sounding amp, the Lewis Electric KR12. I highly recommend checking it out. And once again, if you are in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, please check out ldiabloamps.com, and you can find the only place in town where you can buy Lewis Electric amps. So once again, Sean with SixStringBluesDotCom, blues gear reviews with a blues view. Thank you and have a nice day.